Hola chamas y chamos, welcome back to Álvaro de Blabs. Today we're gonna continue our sushi recipe app made with Nuxt and Storyblok. This video is sponsored by Storyblok. So this is what we are gonna build today. We are gonna create a recipes page, especially for holding oral recipes and be able to search for them here with a control. Let's say we want to search for ramen. It's gonna fetch all the ramens, and also we are gonna be able to filter by categories. So if we search desserts, sushi, or ramen. So this is what we end up having the last video. So we created some pages for each one of our recipes. If I go to here, we have the recipe page with all of the steps, and we use the rich text editor to be able to render this. So if you notice, I added more recipes to the list to be able to see something whenever we are filtering or searching for a recipe. First, we are gonna create a specific recipe page to hold our recipes. So until now, we only have been showing in the index, in the main one, a recipe list, which is a component that we have in the Storyblok part, right here. So we're gonna do a similar thing, but now in the page. That's why I create the recipe card as a separate component. So until now we are using recipes, and we are using this log for each one of the single pages. Let's create a new file here, which is gonna be index.view, and this is gonna hold the route for recipes. Okay, so let's create a single TypeScript here, and for now I guess I'm going to copy more or less this container here. Okay, from here, let's copy here. I don't know if I'm missing some. No, it seems like that. Okay, for now we don't have the blog title because we haven't rendered anything, but instead of this, I'm just gonna put recipes, okay? And for the cards, let's leave it commented to see if it actually works. But we will need to do something in the Storyblok in order to see the page, okay? So we go to Storyblok and we go to our recipes folder, okay? We have all our recipes here, but we can create like a home page or something of that sort. If we select the content type of page here, and let's say this is gonna be recipes, okay? This is a slug for recipes, which match the one that we have in Nuxt, and define as root for the folder, okay? So let's create it, and you can see right here that it automatically worked because we have our page that we created in Nuxt, okay, right there. You want to check if it's exactly that one. So you go here and let's put, I don't know, some random text, and you will see that corresponds to the page that we created, okay? So let's click save. And let's continue on creating some UI to be able to search for it, okay? Maybe I will close this one since it doesn't make sense anymore, and we use the Storyblok interface to see the page. So what we are gonna do is fetch the recipes the same way as we did the last time in the recipe list, but here in the main page for recipes. So we are gonna use the same composable that we used the last time. We're gonna get the recipes and also how to fetch the recipes, okay, from use recipes. And then we are gonna call fetch recipes at the beginning. So let's uncomment this part here. Okay, and I also add some different columns depending on the breakpoints to have a better UI. So if we refresh here, we're gonna have the same list of cards, okay, that we have in the home page. Now let's create some UI here to do the search and the filter. So now what we're going to do is we are going to build the UI interface for searching and for filtering. So feel free to skip this part if you're not interested in the UI part of it and you want to go directly to the functionality of searching with the Storyblok. But if you are interested, keep with me. So we're going to create another div here. I'm going to use the class to make it in the full, and inside of it I'll probably use like a flex because we're gonna put some components there. So I'm gonna use a div with, I don't know, form control as a wrapper, and we're gonna use an input here of type text. So for styling, I would say let's do like 1/3 of it, and then put a background which is gonna be a really subtle gray. Let's see how it looks. Okay, so we need to put like a pad in here, probably in the Y axis. Okay, and here let's put some classes to the input, so let's put it like a full width, and then also probably put in like the background the same color. Okay, so let's look at how it looks. Looks like this. It looks fine. We're gonna add some padding in the X value like this, and in the Y to have some separation. So if we put here something, looks decent enough. Probably let's use a rather smaller font, maybe. Yes, and let's put some rounded corners here. Okay, I don't know if it did something though. Oh no, it did. Okay. Oh, maybe we need to put it, it's not here but here inside. It doesn't look like it's doing that. Okay, anyway. So we need to bind this to a certain variable to be able to use it. So below the feature of fetching the recipes, I'm going to create another feature here, which is gonna be the filtering. Okay, and we are going to create one variable for it, which is gonna be called filter. It's gonna be a ref that is empty. Okay, and we are going to bind it to the input. So we're gonna use bmodel, which is a way of having a two-way binding variable to or property to the input. So it's gonna handle when you change it and also receive the events. Okay, so let's save. We can see if it's working. Let's just put the value below here. Okay. So yeah, and if we write something, it's gonna be there. Okay, cool. What's next? Probably we want to add some icon here for style purposes. So yeah. So probably we want to add an icon. I'm gonna use the preset icon that we used in the past tutorial with Uno CSS. So it's gonna be carbon, probably search. Yes, okay. So let's see. Okay, it is not in the same part because we could even put it like flex here, and item center to make it vertically aligned. That's fine. And probably we want to have some margin on the left of the icon. So margin right, like, I don't know, 4. That looks good. Okay. Well, this is kind of odd because it's actually the outline of the input is here and it should be complete. So maybe we can do it in another way. Maybe we can just remove the background here. Okay. So what it's gonna do is that this is gonna be outside, and put some relative here, or we can increase this margin here, but margin left and negative. Okay, let's try that. Let's use margin left, but in negative to see if it goes inside. Actually, it didn't. Margin left 8 maybe. I think it's not calculating the negative one though. Yeah, it's not doing the negative one. Okay. Another thing that we can do is actually put it as an absolute. So absolute, and then something like top one, and left, right, sorry, 8. Let's see. Okay, since ab is too much, so it's gonna be like a 4. Right, 4? No? Okay. Needed to refresh. Top 2 maybe then. Okay. Seems like it's working. Pretty fine. Okay, cool. Let's just do some last minute adjustments to the UI here. That's fine. And now let's create a drop down with the categories. Now let's create another control to filter by category, okay? So the same way as we create this one, let's just use copy and paste here. And we are going to remove the input that we're using inside and just create a select, okay? So it seems like my Copilot has hungry because it's thinking about food. I'm just gonna remove them and basically put some categories here. So we have two ways. For now, I'm just going to be using a list, okay? So it's gonna be categories, and let's put some. Okay, Copilot, I understand you're hungry, man. Some label here, which is gonna be what categories do we have in the Storyblok? Dessert, sushi, and ramen. Okay. So for now, we're gonna hard code in there here, okay? Later, we're gonna see how we can fetch it from Storyblok. So this is gonna be dessert, then we will have something like ramen, value, ramen. I need to put something here, yes, and a comma. That's why the auto completion wasn't actually working. Comma, which was the other one? Sushi. So sushi, label sushi, value sushi. Okay, so we have our list of categories. Just here we're gonna do a v4. We're gonna iterate them, and we're gonna use the label and the value, okay, of categories, and the value is gonna be value here, and this is gonna be the label. That's fine, and we want to save that in so here I'm gonna put like a filter of feature of filtering by category, okay, and we need a variable to hold that, so it's gonna be category ref here. Let's go down here, and where is the select? Okay, here, B model category. Okay, let's see how it looks. Probably looks horrible. Yeah, it kind of looks really horrible because it does have like two. It has two drop downs there. Funny enough. Because it had to. Okay, it had to create this one though. That's creepy. Okay. Sorry, I was blown out by the copilot. Maybe we want to separate them a little bit. So justify between. It's gonna create some space between them. Okay, this is really basic. Later you will like to modify the CSS a little bit so the chevron for the dropdown is a little bit more aligned. For now, I'm just gonna keep it that way. Or you can remove it and actually use like we were doing it before here. I will put it again though. I like it. Down, I think, yeah. So you can actually remove the original one here. But we're gonna do that later. So let's see if it actually works. So if we choose ramen, for example, and we go to, oh, the view dev tools are not working. Why is that? Interesting. I'm gonna put the categories here on top then. So here below this, I'm gonna put here, and I'm going to say category, and yes, category, because we already tested the other one. So category ramen, sushi, and dessert. Okay, so it's working. So I found out a way of removing with Uno CSS the original or the default appearance for the select input. So you basically put appearance none, and then you will not have the icon itself here. You can use your custom icon for it. So it's appearance none. Okay, and it's gonna do it for WebKit and mouse. So it's pretty cool. So right now we have the categories hard-coded here, and that's fine. But we can use the composable that we have for categories. So we use categories here instead of the other one, and let's see what happens. So something's broken, right? And let's see the console. So cannot read properties of null. Okay, yeah. Okay, so the problem is probably that we need to fetch them. So let's search how we were using this in another place, right? So we were using it on the category section here. So we have some formatted one, and we need to fetch them as well. So that was the part that I'm missing. So index, yes, page recipes, and also here, fetch categories. So this is coming from here. I'm curious about what is the formatting that we're doing though. So we are from name and icon. Okay, but it's not that much though. So probably I don't even need, well, probably I need the UID. I don't know. Okay, we can use either categories or formatted categories, I guess. Let's see what happens. So here, okay, we don't have the value because we are fetching for the wrong thing. So it will be like name, name here, and probably let's use the value as name as well. Okay, so we don't have value anymore. Let's see what happens. So yes, now we have, oh, I misspelled this before. Okay, now we have all of the options coming from Storyblok itself. But before we jump into how to filter the recipes, let's hear some words from our sponsors. Looking for a CMS solution that is great both for marketing teams and developers? Look no further. Storyblok is the headless CMS solutions that you always wanted to have. See how easy it is to change content for your website with a real-time visual editor, creating a delightful customer experience for your teams. Go from a content update to production in no time. Storyblok is easily integrable with multiple tech stacks, making your dev team's life easier. Go and try it for free at storyblok.com. There are two ways that we can achieve the filtering and the searching of recipes in our controls. The first one will be to pass the filter through the composable that we use for the recipes and use a computer property to get the state of recipes and filter it by the name. That will be for the search. We can also do the similar fashion with the category. So this is the first one we are gonna attempt. The second one is actually using the Storyblok API and pass the parameters for categorization and also for filtering. That's the second one that we're gonna do in the next chapter. So to do the first one, what we will need is to first pass the filter through the use recipes. So we are gonna pass here the filter and also the category. So right now it's complaining that we are actually not having them as parameters in the composable function. So let's go to use recipes here and let's add filter, which is gonna be of type ref string and category, which is gonna be the same. Okay, and right below, whenever we are fetching the recipes and fetching by slug, we can create a new computer property. So this one is gonna be filtered recipes. And inside of it, I'm gonna paste this code right here. Okay, so basically it's gonna filter all the recipes, and by each recipe is gonna check if the name, and we force it to be in lowercase, includes any of the word that goes in the filter. So the filter value to lowercase, if that string is included somewhere here, then it will filter. Okay, here we need to put const, so it's okay. Let's test this first out. So we're gonna pass back filter recipes, and I think we're missing something here. Probably another, yeah, another one. Okay, now it looks better. So we go back to our index page for recipes, and instead of using here recipes, we're gonna use filtered recipes. And we are gonna change here in the recipe card, when we are doing the iteration, we are gonna change recipes for filter recipes. Let's get back here and refresh. So if we type here, let's say C crunchy, okay, so it's gonna filter all by the name, so it's searching for anything that has a CR. If we do avocado, we're gonna have this one. If we do ramen, we're gonna have these two ramen because it's on the title. We achieve the search functionality. Now let's try to do the same for the categories. Let's get back to your use recipes. And here we can decide how we want the controls to affect the search, because we could do an and or an or. That means that we're searching by name and we are searching by category, so they will be combined together, name and category. Or we can do more simple and say or. So or by name or by category, okay? In this case, I'm going to use, so recipe includes until here. Let's put an N, and let's see, recipe content category name to lowercase include category value to lowercase. That seems to be right. I don't know if category needs to have a content inside. We will figure it. So let's save it. Let's go here, refresh, and let's try to put a sushi to see if it actually filters, which is doing it. So we have ramen, sushi, and desserts. So, okay, let's do something. I'm gonna put sushi. Okay, both of them have. Okay, so if I put avocado, it's gonna filter that. Actually, I should add something here that put unchecks the category filter, I guess. So maybe we can do that on the recipe page. So index here, And where we're getting the categories, we're passing the categories right away, but we could put some option here that is basically null. So let's put none and value empty string. Okay, let's see what happens now. If we refresh, we can have the certs, okay, and then none. Interesting. So I should put nothing, maybe. So the certs, none. Okay, so yeah, I have to put anything. And if we go here and we say shrimp, perfect. So avocado, we have two options here, like a sushi and a dessert. And if we go for sushi, it's gonna fail this. So that's how we can easily implement a filtering feature and filtering by category. This is fine if you are aware that you're gonna fetch everything first and then you're gonna filter in the front end, but I recommend you to use the second approach, that is the following one. So now let's see how we can use the Storyblok API to fetch the data with the filtering already. This is gonna be a little bit more complex than the other one, but the results are better and it's the appropriate way. It's the proper way of doing it. Okay, so we have everything as it was before. I'm just keep passing the filter and the category to the use recipes. And we're gonna use it in a different way here because we are gonna continue having the computer property for the filter. It's okay to be there, but we are gonna pass these parameters as optional because if you remember correctly, we have a recipe list component that is using the same composable, and we were asking for passing some parameters, and in this case we don't need any filtering in that place, so that's why we're putting as optional parameters. With that being done, let's go to the fetch recipes, and we're going to change a little bit the structure because we need to add here in the parameters to ask the API to filter our request. So I'm going to create a variable with the parameters here, and I'm gonna pass everything that it was here outside. And for the API query, we are just gonna pass the params. Why? Because now I need to check if filter value is available, and if it's so, we're gonna edit the parameters and we're gonna add something that is called filter query. So filter query is a special property. Oh my god, my cats are crazy today. So filter query is I lost track of my thoughts. It's a property that's available in the Storyblok API to do the filtering. So we need to pass what property of the recipes we want to fill for. So in this case it's title, and then the operator and the value. So in this case we're gonna use like because we need that the substring is like the search one, and here we are gonna use some wildcard. Get out, please. Sorry about that. So we put it in template strings because we need to use these wildcards. So if you put a wildcard in the beginning, it will tell the Storyblok API that you match every string at the beginning of the title. If you use both of them, it means that it can be anywhere in the string. So let's save that. And if we go here, we're gonna see that it's not making anything. Let's refresh, try again, nothing. And that's because we are not querying again the recipes after we change the filter. So if we go here and we go to the index page, we need to again call this fetch recipe every time we change the model, every time we change the filter. So let's add a watch operator here, and basically whenever the filter value is, and I think we can simplify it as this, we are gonna call fetch recipes again. So if we go back here and we type, we're gonna see that now it's filtering correctly. So if we say, I don't know, ramen, it's gonna filter the ones that has ramen on the name. If we search for the network tab, you're gonna see here that it's passing the query correctly. So let's add the categories now. We're gonna do exactly the same. So let's watch for the categories change. Okay, every time we change in the dropdown, and let's update the use recipes for using that. So if category value, okay, we're gonna change here and we're gonna use in category value. Okay, in, it means that it's a match. Okay, that we are assuring that the category field on our recipe is the same as the category value. If we save, you're gonna see that it will not work. Why? Especially because if we put here desert, it's gonna give you blank because there is nothing with the category UUID as dessert. What do I meant for that? Is that here we're passing category dessert, right? In category dessert. But if we check the recipes as they are, so recipes, okay, here we have one. In the categories, whenever we are searching for the content, you see that the category is a UUID. But if we inspect or select dropdown, we are not having that value there. So we need to tweak something really quick on the index page for the recipes. Here, we are passing the name as the value of the option in the dropdown. So what we need to do for this to work is just pass the UUID and use it as a value. Okay, so that being done, let's refresh and see if it works. So if we use the search, it's gonna filter by the search, sushi, and ramen. Go here to the payload. For the query, you're gonna see filter category in and the UUID of the category you are trying to filter. And this is the proper way of doing it, because whenever you have more recipes, you want probably to paginate them, and you can use other filter queries and sorting queries to do so. So let's go quickly to use recipes. And here you can add another filter queries and ordering queries in order to set the start with and the end with. And that way you can do a pagination. And that's pretty much it, how you can create a search bar for your recipes and also filter for filtering them by category. And that's pretty much for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please subscribe and drop a like, it means a lot. And also stick around for the next video, the part 5. This is gonna be the last one, and it's gonna be about how to deploy our sushi recipe app to Netlify. Ciao, ciao!